What is it that you would like to have as your life? What would you like to create? What would you like to choose? Welcome to Discovering the Miracle of You podcast. I am your host, Rachael O'Brien, and I invite you to know that you can change anything in your life that is not working for you, and you can create anything you desire. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third podcast of Discovering the Miracle of You. Yay! And today, woohoo!
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Today, I'm with one of my favorite, I'm going to say he's an infinite being with a man body. You're one of my favorite people in the world. I cannot express in words. Oof! Getting a flush of energy through my body. What it's like to have you in my life. Max Zoulek, welcome.
Thank you so much, Rachael. What an honor and a gift. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I invited you on. Both of us are very familiar with the work of Talk to the Entities. And Talk to the Entities is a body of work developed, funnily enough, by your wife, Shannon O'Hara.
Yeah.
And this body of work, I really wanted to talk in the episodes about the things that had come into my life and put me on a completely different journey towards myself, the way that I function, so I could have more of me. And Talk to the Entities is a body of work that really allowed me to change direction in regard to the relationship I had with myself, and also in regard to a lot of areas that I had cut off due to cultural, environmental points of views about the spirit world. And so this session is all about Talk to the Entities, and I am going to ask Max some questions about being spirit aware and the evolution of that spirit awareness and the recognition of it and what it's like to be spirit aware. So let's start there. What is it like for you to be spirit aware?
God, it really varies at this stage, because I don't think about it most of the time.
Yeah,
and then there are certain awarenesses, certain entity awareness signs, we can call them, that I know are entity awareness. And then I ask a question too. Okay, is this entities? And then if it's like yes or no, like following the energy, the energetic awareness rather than the head, which I've tried a lot, doesn't work very well. It's navigating then how to deal with that and using the Talk to the Entities tools is such a gift, because for my whole life, I was aware of stuff and like particular things. For me, it was always like this sense of paranoia, something was going to go wrong, or I'm the worst person in the world. And it was always there to some degree, and sometimes it was a lot worse than other times. And like I was never diagnosed as anything, but it was always like this constant issue. And the first time I realized that I was entity aware was, I'm sure we'll get into more of the story, but it was probably my second or third Talk to the Entities beginning class, because I was dating Shannon. I was interested in Shannon. I wasn't interested in talking to entities. I was like, that's surely not related to me. But I found the classes so empowering on a personal level. Like even if I wasn't looking at it in terms of entities, I found it very personally empowering, in like knowing what I know and having more access to my knowing. And then at the end, or in the third class, we finished one of the days of class. I was riding home on the bike, and I was happy and everything was great. I think it was in Copenhagen, and I became aware of this psychic awareness encroaching, which was this, something bad is going to happen. I'm so wrong. And there's this paranoia, and it just kept getting stronger and stronger, but it was very familiar. I was like known it all my life. It was always either not so bad or it was like shit. But I could never do anything to change it. And then I remembered, Shannon spoke about this very thing today, like this psychic awareness of feeling really bad and paranoid and mentioning entities as part of it. So I just thought, okay, I'll clear entities. And I did that, and it just completely went away. I was like totally happy again. And I'd never had that before in my life. So I was like, oh, wow. I'd never done anything in my life that changed it like this. This is interesting. And then that occurred several more times. And then that's how I acknowledged that I was entity aware, not because I was seeing them with my eyes or hearing them with my ears or anything like that, where we really hold on to our five senses to believe something.
Yeah.
And it wasn't belief. It was just it was a knowing of, oh, okay. It's like scientific, really, because this occurred, I did this, and then this was the outcome, and I could replicate it.
And yeah, I'm very grateful for what you're saying. I don't see entities either. Sometimes I can see shadows. I do really want to say this for everyone listening.
Totally.
A lot of the people that I know, they don't see entities. For me, it's more smell, and it's a lot of the hearing their voices. And so I just want to say that if you're out there, you may have a different way of perceiving the spirit world. And for me, it's certainly not seeing them the way I see Max. It is a sense I can have the paranoia. That's one of my key signs and signals that I'm entity aware. This sense of doom, gloom, nothing lighter is available. There are no possibilities available. That was one of the big things that was going on for me. And so this is a huge part in this, that you will have your unique, different way of perceiving the spirit world. And thanks so much, because you made it so clear. This occurred. I used the toxic entities clearing, and then I changed energetically. I became happier. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was happy again, like I was beforehand. And I'm a pretty skeptical person, really, generally. Like, I don't just believe things. And even when I was doing a lot of metaphysical things beforehand, I wanted to have like an actual change or shift in either my psychic awareness, in my life, in my world, or something. I didn't just want to believe something because it was convenient, or, I didn't just want to live up here in my head and sort of think about something differently. I actually wanted to have something different, to be different, to engage with things differently. And the tools of Talk to the Entities have really helped me with that in this whole other way that there is no educational reference for. But the cool thing is, because it's not about believing, because believing is always like a blind faith in something outside of you or something else. But with Talk to the Entities, it's about knowing what you know. And with Access Consciousness, it's about knowing what you know. It's not like you said, Rachel, we all have different entity awareness signs. Like, everyone's quite different. So you have to find out what they are. So you have to go on this journey of discovery for you. It's not about believing us or someone or about that. It's about finding out for yourself. And that's the empowering piece with all of this.
I'm so grateful the way that you've put it. I've never heard anyone say that so clearly, in a way of, we don't want you to believe, take our point of view and follow, following us. The whole premises of Access Consciousness is empowering you to know what you know. And so I adore what you said about, I know something changed. And knowing is so, it just cuts through all the bullshit, and everything becomes clear. And for me, when I know the way that you talked about, immediately things become peaceful.
Yeah, because it connects you to you. Believing is this thing of, like I said, blind faith in a sense. And some people do use the word belief, but they're talking about knowing. So words are kind of like, we're kind of using them to point at different things, but it's the energy that's relevant, right? It's like when someone is willing to know. And one of the ways that you know is that you don't have a need to prove it, that you don't have a doubt about it. It doesn't like, oh, it's this, oh, but maybe it's that, or maybe I'm wrong, or maybe it's like, oh no, it's this. Like, there's a lightness and an ease, and that you don't need to prove it.
Yeah.
For me, are like some really clear signs that it's knowing, and not like I'm trying to prove something or make something, invent something, make it real and true when it necessarily isn't.
Which comes back to huge lack of trust in yourself.
Yeah. Which is a developing thing too. Like, there's places I don't trust myself. I don't 100% trust myself. right? I know this about me. And I don't want to pretend that I do or that I don't, but so it's this continuous process of discovery and choices. Like, what choices can I make to trust myself more too?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And you talked about something earlier, which is a very advanced philosophy of access consciousness, is thinking is the lower harmonics of knowing. And I know that when I'm thinking, I don't have that deep knowing and trust of myself. And I'm off kilter. I'm not in the direction by
Right.
which I'd like to live my life, which is what Max is talking about, following the energy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Mm.
So much
So,
of it is connecting to ourselves in a way, not that thing of what do I need to find and have the answer for outside of myself that I can believe in and follow and trust. And so, which is very in this area when it comes to entities, because you don't have all of this kind of proof. And if we're talking about money, for example, you have a lot more, you can hold on to stuff. Well, it's actually a bad example because
money.
money then becomes a very energetic thing too before the actual money shows up.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's so funny. I'm not sure if I ever told you this. One of the ways that entities talk to me is let's say I'll meet you and you have an earring or a ring belong to your grandmother. And so this is so not cognitive, and this is what you're shown. And I'll run the entity clearance because it's part of my daily living now, And is this an entity? And then I'll run the clearings. And so I'll walk in to you and I'll say, oh, where did you get that ring? Or where did you get those earrings? And then it takes me a moment to catch up. The moment the person says, that was my grandmother's, that was my great grandmother's. And this could be in Macy's, And so for me, none of it is cognitive, which is what you talked about. It's very energetic. And the moment that I acknowledge it, it's like, oh, this person's grandmother wanted to say hello. Or this person's aunt wanted to say hello, or the energy that was attached to the ring. So
yeah,
I would say the big message here is this is something that you explore so that you can find out what it is for you.
totally. Exactly. And how you connect to it, how you are aware.
That is you just saying that, when it comes to the entity world, so many of us have psychological barriers and physiological barriers. And this leads me into my next question is, when you were a kid, did you grow up in a culture and a family that had open and ease with the inclusion of the spirit world? Or was it very, don't talk about that, or it wasn't even acknowledged, or this is like something that we don't even close doors? Yeah.
It was never mentioned a single time. I think I watched the movie Ghost with my mother, with Patrick Swayze, but she was really
Yeah.
into Patrick Swayze.
I'm pretty sure everyone was into Patrick.
Where did he actually go?
Where did Patrick Swayze go? Is he an entity right now?
Did he follow on from the movie Ghost?
Is he knocking on your door? Looking to talk to you?
So that was literally the only time where a ghost thing ever came up, and it wasn't even talked about or acknowledged or anything. So, but I don't blame that on my family, or like, it's such a middle class, like anything energetic or different was not part of anything. It was always about, like, money was number one, and then family, and then sort of. So I never had any exposure. It was literally only when I started Access Consciousness that there was any real exposure about talking about entities. And then with Talk to Entities classes and then becoming a facilitator, it's just like has opened this whole different universe where I don't have to think about it to connect with it. I have created this connection with this universe that I don't, most of the time, don't perceive with my five senses. Like you said, you see shadows. I have a similar thing. There's this weird thing. We live in the UK countryside.
Yeah.
Down this track, like just half a minute from the house, where I normally walk, in the last month, every time I walk past this particular spot, I'm like that. And because I think someone's standing there, but then it's always an entity. And this one particular spot, and I haven't really had this consistently anywhere, any other place. Even just yesterday when I was out, I was like, oh fuck, he's still there. And I'm like, what does he require? Like, I'm still in the question of what's required there, what does he need, or what is he communicating, or it's this fascinating, it's so cool being able to be in communication and awareness and connection with this other world that exists all of the time, but we tend to block it out so much because we're so focused on the thinking, the doing, the money, the you know, the form and structure of life with a body, right? Because there is, with the more we relax, the more we connect with the energy. And that's where most people freak out. That's why most people don't like to relax, because they get too connected with the shit that they can't control or think they can't control.
It's so funny. You literally, I was just literally looking at how people spend their day caught up in the form and the structure and the significance. And these are, this is one, we have 10 Keys to Freedom, a phenomenal book in Access Consciousness. And one of the 10 Keys to Freedom is no form, no structure, no significance. So when Max talks about this, he's talking about the form in which we live is to get up, go to work, prioritize making money, prioritize working hard, prioritize doing. And all of that is making these external values more important than the interaction of what is really going on in every moment that can be missed if you're not willing to be present in your life and boxed in by the form and the structure and the significance.
Which is totally fine. It's like a particular choice, but you miss out on so much. You miss out on so much of what's possible and what's available. And, you know, imagine you pass on from this life.
Yeah.
And you really care for your children or your wife or whoever you left behind. And you want to contribute to them. You want to be there for them. And they just completely block you out. Like they have no capability or interest in being aware and receiving that, just because you don't have a body anymore and you don't fit into the form and structure, these all of these connected points of views of what it means to be alive and dead, right? Not that, oh, the body's gone, the being's still around, what would they like to choose now? And like, we all have these different choices beyond just this lifetime. It's we're cutting out so much when we when we're not willing to be connected with that.
You're so funny. Just you're making me laugh. What I adore about when two people who are entity aware come together, before the call, I completely forgot our call was today, everyone. Which is quite unusual for me. And I just before, you just said that when people are looking to communicate with you, your loved ones, my mom was a seamstress. And before the call, I was cooking a chili and she used to leave her needles everywhere, you know? And so Troy picked up one of the tea towels when he was going to like clean the end of the pot. And he was like, there's a needle in the tea towel. And I had forgot to, say hello to my mom. How you doing, Caddy? She just enjoys being part of like anything to do with food, or things, making food is a big one, or singing, or just chatting and cooking. And so I didn't even consider this, and I did say to Troy, oh, that's something that you would find in my house growing up as a kid, because my mother was a seamstress and her needles would be everywhere.
Wow.
I know. And then you come on and say this, and it's like, ding, 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 ding. Hey, stupid Rachie,
Wow. Well, and just to point out that you're not a seamstress, you probably don't have needles all over the place. So it's like it's quite an uncommon occurrence, right? Like you wouldn't expect that in your household.
I mean, you would expect a book, Access Consciousness, or a photograph, or other things, but a needle, that's just like,
wow. Yeah, and it's this willingness to engage with the weird shit, like that doesn't make sense, but is this communication, like you said, it's this
Yes.
communication that
Yes.
is available.
Yeah. Yeah. And how beautiful that I can say, hello, hi, Kathy, how are you? What can I contribute to you? And this is the beautiful part. You said it, you exclude a whole world when you don't have the big R, is the receiving
Yeah.
of who is talking to you. And walking down the road when you keep seeing that guy going into question, going into what is required here? What do you require from me? What can I gift you? And I would say that's the thing, that going from the place where I'm going to say that I was dysfunctional, my entity awareness was interrupting in my functionality of my daily living, because there was so much going on and entities were quite loud in my head. And so this is where now you can use it. And I went from being like sad and depressed or paranoid that you talked about,
Yeah.
actually
Which turns then chronic, right? Like when you keep ignoring it, it becomes this chronic and deeper and like more painful psychically and physically problem, right?
totally. And that was one of the things that I wanted to ask you when you said that you were, when you had the paranoia piece on the motorbike and it was something very familiar. By that time, did you believe that was you,
Yeah, it was so familiar that I thought that was just me at the
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
Exactly. I just thought that's how I was, and I was wrong because nobody else seemed to have it, and like everyone else seemed fine. I was like, had this thing going on most of the time. So I 100% thought that that was just me, and that's how I
Yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah. And that's what I want to point out. Before utilizing the tools and educating myself and getting the information and the resources, and as you said, working with them until I found out what was true for me, I genuinely believed the depression and the voices in my head. That was Rachael O'Brien.
And all of your issues. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was me, and I was a problem, and I didn't even know that there was something not wrong with me and there was nothing to be fixed. I just had to add information that would allow me to have a different experience of being alive. And my goodness, did it allow me to have a different experience of being alive
Mm,
when I included the spirit world, you know?
yeah.
Mm.
And I've seen this impact for so many people as well. Since I work with Talk to the Entities, I some years ago spoke to a number of Talk to the Entities facilitators one by one that had like a particular story of change. And so there you can find those on YouTube for anyone who's listening. If you go to the Talk to the Entities channel, and there's a playlist called Stories of Change, there's 20 plus there.
We can put it in the show notes. We do
Yeah,
some.
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And it blew me away because I didn't know the story from most of these people. Like most of these people had no idea like where they came from and then what shifted with specifically these entity tools and entity capacities that they had. They just like didn't know they had and didn't know how to deal with. So it was mostly about coping with all of these problems and issues and the physical stuff people had, the addiction things they had. They like bulimia and like allergies to like all of the foods. Basically, one person could hardly even eat anything at that point, and then she started with Talk to the Entities, and this, and then she's not allergic to anything. She can eat anything, you know. And she's a Talk to the Entities facilitator. She's like thriving in life. She's a completely different life with the willingness to and the education of not dealing with entities beforehand to then being able to deal with them. It's like a completely different universe. So I've seen it in so many different people in so many different ways,
Yeah,
right?
me
Like
too.
when I
Yeah.
talk about it, that's very mild. You know, I was like pretty functional, but kind of not as well. Like things
Yeah.
weren't that easy. Like it wasn't easy for me to achieve things in my life financially or in certain ways, but it's the creativity in the engaging in life is so much easier now, I would say.
Yeah.
Like the creation of my life is so much easier.
Yeah, we talk in Access about something called sexualness, and
Hmm.
it's the joyful, healing, nurturing contribution that bodies are. And for me, it's like the space, and it's this like inner, I'm going to say like inner wellness, or this inner sense that, I'm alive, and I would say that's what started to get fed for me, was instead of this constant diminishment of myself through judgment, what's wrong with me, I really started to see that actually there was a lightness about me. But before the Talk to the Entities tools, and this was particularly for me in regard to Talk to the Entities, I couldn't decipher the difference between me and what I was aware of. Like I was acting like the information that I was receiving was me, and I had trouble finding out what was me and what wasn't me. And so we have this beautiful tool in Access. If it's true, it's light, and if it's a lie, it's heavy. And it's one of the ones that I constantly have to remind myself every single day that I'm alive. Hey, Rach, if it's true, it's light. If it's a lie, it's heavy.
Totally. Because it's so attractive to believe the heavy oftentimes, and to make that relevant and true and not be in question about it, like try and figure out what the problem is and where it is and how it is and where you're the problem. And it's so attractive and it's so popular.
Yeah, I would say that's the thing that I am still surprised by, how popular it is to assess the heavy, go into it and try and figure it all out, instead of just utilizing tools that allow you to recognize that truly, if it isn't light, then it's not your reality. And that's essentially what this podcast is all about, is if it's not light, it's not true for you. And maybe you can talk about judgment. Judgment is the prison.
Totally. The matrix and the prison.
Yeah.
I'll just mention a little bit on the light and heavy that you mentioned beforehand, because when I started Access Consciousness, everything was heavy for me. When I heard that tool, I had no idea what lightness was for me, because everything was heavy all of the time. And so I had to work on it.
Tough, like, is it?
Yeah, it was tough. Like everything was like literally just hardcore and heavy and
yeah, just knowing you as someone who's so freaking kind, and anytime you see me, the touch immediately brings me into my body, and takes me out of judgment. When you just put your hand on me, or when you open the door, immediately, like, that brings me into my body. So hearing you talk about this, I haven't heard you say this before, even though we've known each other for years. I'm like, wow, do you know what I mean? It's like, wow.
Someone like being a man and having a degree of sensitivity that I thought I was a wrongness the whole time, because a man is supposed to be strong. He's supposed to be this and he's supposed to be that. And supposed to be like, and I mean, I did like 4 years of intense martial arts, like kickboxing and jiu-jitsu and ring fights. I was the Australian Queensland amateur champion at one point because I thought I needed to prove something to myself. And
you're a man, I can fight.
Exactly. And that I can fight and that I can defend and prove and all the things.
Kind, sensitive, and aware of entities.
So I've done all sorts of weird things to try and cope with that and try and fit in more and be a certain thing that I thought I should be, rather than recognizing that the sensitivity is actually a strength and how to utilize that.
Yeah.
Like how to not be at the effect of it and trying to fit into this reality, which has all these specifications for what you should be, man or woman. And so the sensitivity really is a strength of wow. Well, a lot of things. It's hard to define it. Like healing is one of them, but also just awareness, like the willingness to be aware of everything in a heightened sort of way. You get to choose before things show up as a problem. Like you get to have a different choice.
And also, I would say your sensitivity has allowed me to have more allowance of myself, when before I had friends, people that supported me and had my back and allowed me to stand up for what's true for me. particularly in regard to being spirit aware, more so in regard to being like someone who is extremely sensitive to energies. I didn't recognize how much energy was influencing my daily living. And so what you're saying is that 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 sensitivity for me that you have is a massive healing capacity, because then you're like, oh, I remember one time telling you about, I worked on someone and they had taken a lot of drugs, and I said to you it was like I absorbed the drugs, and you were like, well, you did, and
Yeah.
and in that moment, nobody had ever said that to me before, and so what Max and I are talking about now is that when you are a sensitive person, you know and you come into a world that most people shut that off due to coping mechanisms, that's where, when you start to open to these senses, you can receive the beauty of the trees and the entities that are talking to you. And then we've the whole macro beings of the universe, beings of light, and all these energies that also can contribute to you. And yeah.
And I'm also realizing there's an incredible potency with that, because if you embrace that awareness,
Yes.
you get to know what is true
Yeah.
for you, and then in a situation as well. So if someone's lying to you, or someone has some agenda with you, you can deal with it in a number of different ways, but not be at the effect of it. So there is this incredible potency, which is this potential energy that's always there. Potency is potential energy, right? You have access to energy constantly. Whether you use it or how you use it is totally up to you. But the
Totally.
potency is there.
Yeah.
So you don't have to eat shit, and you don't have to, like, you get to be burden-free in a large way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say that's one of the things that was also occurring for me before I used these tools, was that I was utilizing so much energy against myself
Exactly.
through judgment, and I was impeding it. That was stacked upon my body. And then I wasn't enjoying having a body. And
Yeah.
when I started to access what was true for me and what I was aware of, and acknowledge, oh yeah, that was my mom in the kitchen, or that was a guy that was 200 years ago lived down the end of the road that you're walking. And so when I started to allow myself to acknowledge and receive what was true for me, everything started to change. Everything started to change. And instead of waking up burdened and with that heaviness, then I started making choices towards the lightness of the sensitivity, which is choosing the way that you would like to live.
Yeah. And what you get to receive, because you get to receive so much more when you aren't fighting everything. Like, when you're coping with your awareness, for example, entities are trying to communicate with you, but you're like, you have to fight to resist, right? To
Totally.
not to block them out, and to
Totally.
contraction and fight,
Yeah.
rather than the relaxation. And then what would they like to contribute, or what is available here? What can be created with this particular entity or these entities? So you're in cooperation with everything, and because everything wants to contribute to us.
Say what? I'm not
Yeah,
on my own, and I don't have to fight to get everything. And this is the way that I was raised.
totally.
You fight to get everything that you deserve or that you can get.
Yeah,
And that was a hard slog.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And this relaxing into receiving and knowing that everything is willing to contribute to you. I'm just fully exposing myself. I'm not there yet.
Oh, totally. Me neither. Trust me. Yeah. And this is one of those things too, where it's not about believing it. It's because to relax to a huge degree, you actually have to start trusting yourself. Like the things we've talking about, there's this process of, you can't just be an infinite, or fuck, how do I put this best? You can't be totally free instantaneously.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah. I would say I've had
Because
to,
you have to become more at the same time, like more capable and like be more to receive more. You
yeah,
can't just like receive everything and just still be the same. You got to
yeah,
be willing to be more as you receive more, and then receive more as you be more. It's this constant play, let's say.
yeah. And to bring it back to our topic, I would say the development of the capacity to perceive entities was something that I genuinely had to get to practice with, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You got to learn and discover for yourself and how you do it and
Yeah,
be it.
totally, totally.
And I'll just take back what I said about like you can't be instantaneously free. I'm sure some people can. That's
Yeah.
probably not me, and that's probably not most people. But I don't want to like, don't take that as that's true or something. Like everything that we talk about, take it with a grain of salt, take it with a question. Use the tools of heavy and light. If it's heavy for you, ask more questions. If it's
Mm,
light for you, then it is true for you. But
yeah,
use your awareness. This is, yeah,
yeah,
we're not
totally.
right. We're
We're
just
not right
talking
and
about a different possibility.
we're not right and we're not wrong.
Exactly.
And what if wrongness, we talked a lot about judgment today. It's always a diminishment of awareness. It's always a control mechanism. What if you could never be wrong? What if wrongness is not even a reality for you, And I hope, I let Max talk for himself. I hope this podcast has been a contribution to you to start to investigate what are your capacities and what are you aware of in regard to the spirit world. Anything you'd like to say?
Well, I like how you said investigate, because what I first thought you were going to say was invest, and that is another big piece of this. Invest in you and invest in your future and what you know and what you're capable of. And I
Mm,
don't mean financially invest by like going to the classes. That is a choice, but your
mm,
curiosity, your questions, your what you ask for, that all of those things are an investment. So there's so many different ways of investing in you, but your curiosity is like I would say the main one.
yeah. And finding out the way that you would like to live beyond what you were told was life and the structure of it.
Yeah.
What would you like to create with your life and what way would you like to live? Yeah.
And what is already desiring to contribute to you that you could receive?
Boom.
Yeah.
That's
Cool.
that's getting my body to relax. So we finish on that one. Thanks for being here with me, and thanks for just being such a beautiful energy in the world that is such a gift to me.
Thank you, Rachael. Thank you so much for the invite and for everything you be.
All right.
So
Thank you
cool.
so much. Bye, everyone. See you the next time.